Hello, pre-calc. Let's do some solving exponential equations. These are actually some of my very favorite ones to do. So as long as you know your powers, you're going to be just fine. So first step is to make sure bases are the same. Then you need to have one base on each side. Drop bases and solve. Okay, so as we go through these questions or problems, I want you to be asking yourself, what number to what power gives me any of these bases? And that will help you jumpstart your brain on knowing what to do. So here we go. For these examples, remember, you have to have one base on each side and they have to be the same. So if we look at this very first problem, you can see that we have a base of e on this side and a base of e on this side. We have no other e's except for those. So that means we can cancel them out, drop the exponents, and then solve the equation. So I'm going to add 2w to both sides. So we get 6w minus 1 equals 5. Add 1 to both sides. We get a 6. So w equals 1. And there you have it. So let's look at the next one. Okay. Next one looks a little scary just because we have so many bases. So we have a base of 8 here, a base of 8 here, base of 8, and a base of 8. But the good thing is they're all bases of 8. So when we multiply, we add exponents. So that means we're just going to go k squared plus k plus 2k minus 9 has to equal 4k plus 11. So basically what we did is we combined them to be one log, or not one log, one exponential, and then we dropped it. So we just kind of did it in 2 steps. So now we're just going to get it all on one side. So I'm going to subtract 4k and then subtract 11. So this will get it to equal 0 for us. So we have k squared. K plus 2k is 3k. Minus 4k is a negative k. And then negative 9 minus the 11 is a negative 20. So this means we're going to have to factor. So what times what gives you 20 and adds together to give you a 1. So hopefully you said it. Be 5 and 4. And which way would your signs have to go? Minus k plus 4. So the set them equal to 0. So k equals 5 and negative 4. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, on this one, we have a base of a 9, and we have a base of 81. So this is what I meant by earlier. I want you to ask the question, do you know what number to what power will give you one of these numbers? Okay, hopefully you guys said 9 squared gives you 81, which means if I have a base of 9, I would want to leave this base alone. So now my bases are the same, and I can drop 4y minus 26 equals 2. Add 26, we get 28. Y equals 7. Okay, here's example 4. So this one looks fun. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this space and then highlight this space, but I think I know you can tell me what number to what power gives you a 49. 7 squared. So what's the only difference if it's a fraction? You got it, negative power. So now this is where we need to use your noggin or get a calculator and be like, okay, is there some power that 7 can go to that would give us the 343? And there is. It's the power of a 3. So now our bases are the same. We can drop. So as we drop, we're going to distribute. So 6n minus 12 equals negative 2n minus 8. So I'm running out of room here. So I'm going to add my 2n. I get 8n. Add my 12. I will get a 4. And then when we divide by 8, n will equal a half. Okay, next one has a few larger ones in it as well. So here's our base of a 25, 625, and 1 over 25. Okay. What do you guys think? What number to what power gives you some of those? Okay, so some of you guys might be thinking 5 squared gives you 25. That is correct. You could change this to 5 squared. You could change this to 5 to the negative 2. That's completely fine. And then you could sit there and figure out what number or 5 to what power would give you 625. You are more than welcome. However, I do want to show you one thing on this one. So I'm actually going to use a different one. I'm actually going to use 25. Okay? Because 25 squared gives you 625. Since this is just 1 over 25, that gives you 25 to the negative 1. So we drop. So remember, when you multiply, you add. 2n plus 6 equals negative 1. So we have 3n equals negative 7. So n is negative 7 over 3. I think I have one last example to do with you guys. Now remember, anytime you're more than welcome to freeze these, work them out, see if you can figure them out before I say something. So here's a base. Here's a base, and here's a base. So what number to what power gives you these bases? Okay, so I use the one at the end because I know of an 8 to the negative 1. We give you the 1/8. I knew that 8 squared gave me 64, so it would be 8 to the negative 2 instead. And so looked up the last one. 8 to the power of 3 gives you 512. So that means when we drop, we have 3y squared equals negative 6y. Remember, when you multiply, you add. And we get negative 5y squared. So I am going to erase that plus and just make it a negative. Okay, so let's get everything to the one side. So this means we would have 8y squared plus 6y equals 0. Then we take out our greatest common factor, which would be 2y. So we would be left with 4y plus 3 equals 0. Set both of those equal to 0. So the first one is 0. And then 4y plus 3 equals 0. Subtract 3. And then divide. So we have 2 answers on this one. Okay, I hope you guys are doing okay. Work on your worksheet and be ready to ask me questions.